And what you see in front of you is a Coupole V2 rocket launching facilities. Built between 1943 and 1944, it was designed to facilitate V2 rockets, a launch pad and liquid oxygen plant as well. And was obviously aimed against London and the south coast of England. V meant vengeance. It's built in the side of this chalk quarry. I mean, the Nazis commandeered it and basically tried to turn it into this V2 rocket launching site. There's another one very similar to this, but not the same design, because that's a dome-shaped design. The one a few kilometres away is about 7.5 miles, or about 10 kilometres just over, and that's called Epilec, and we'll hopefully have a look at that later on, or before this, whichever I've decided to put the video out. V2 is at a maximum distance of 320 kilometres or 200 miles. Hence the reason why it was built here, because we're not very far away from the coast actually. In 1943 they had quite an extensive railway line put into here, so we could run to and from the main railway line to take any equipment in or out of this building. This dome was actually built on a principle called build on to earth. And what the Nazis did to protect themselves while they were actually working on these V2 facilities is they would pile a lot of earth in the shape of a dome like that, and then they would make a series of a structure, wooden structure usually, and what they do then is they would actually form a metal rebar into the shape that you can see now, and then they pour concrete, they let it set, then underneath they start to dig it out. So in other words, it was always safe underneath here in case of Allied attack, because we're so close to Calais, it was constantly bombed, and the operation was called Operation Crossbow. Crossbow was the code name for the bombing of these V1 and V2 rocket launching sites. The size of this dome is actually 5 metres thick and 84 metres across in length. That section there, what you can see there, is actually ventilation, and the idea is to try and ventilate any toxic gases were actually in this building. They were making liquid oxygen at the time, so they need to make sure that the people that were working on it didn't get gas, basically. So that up there is ventilation. In June and July of 1944, 617 Squadron, which is the Dam Busters, had an adapted plane to carry a 12,000 or 5,000 kilo tall boy bomb, and they went to hit this area as well as other areas in this area under a thing called Operation Crossbow, which is basically to seek out these V1 and V2 rocket launching sites and destroy them. As far as I know, none of them hit this dome, but what it did, it hit not far off the side of the dome, and these bombs are called earthquake bombs. In other words, you didn't really have to hit the target, because the idea was if it landed near it, it could actually create a problem regarding an earthquake, or I should say, like an earthquake, a seismic shock. And what it did was, see these concrete things there, they're called buttresses, and it was that strong. The bomb, when it hit, it dislodged all these buttresses away from the actual dome itself, but didn't really create much damage to the dome. There's actually two ways into this dome here, called Gustav and Gretchen tunnels. They were the main routes in and out to the launch pads. But when the 617 Squadron went to bomb this place, they actually destroyed, I think they destroyed both of them actually. So this was rendered useless. And eventually the Nazis decided to abandon this site as a basic waste of time. Nothing ever were fired from this area. You know, the British, the Allies, were onto it, So none of these facilities were actually used in order to send any rockets over to England. The site of La Coupole now is a museum. It was bought out and it was converted into a museum, same as Epilec and another one called Mimoyek. They're all museums now. You can actually get into them. I'll take you inside the museum, have a look around, and I'll take a few shots and a few videos of what it's all about inside. Now we're going to go into one of the tunnels. The entrance is called Ada. That's the main entrance into this building, which is just over there. No doubt I'll show you as we walk in. And this is where we're going to go into that, into actually getting to La Coupole itself when we go through the museum. And that's a V1, but it's actually can be manned. So I can't remember the history of this. I think it was just so they could just test it before they obviously set it. It's got a pulse engine on the back anyway, which is a standard V1. But that what the thing is, what the cockpit is, I don't think it was kamikaze. I don't think it were. I'll get some history about it anyway and put it to the bottom or on this clip, so at least you know what this is about. 100 years the Royal Flying Corps in there. Became the RAF eventually, about 1917 I think it were. It costs you €10 to get in per person, adult, be cheaper for the kids, and you get these headphones that in whatever language you're going to listen to. This is the Eder Tunnel. Now V2s, Air 4 V2s they were called actually, or Air 4s, the V2s were vengeance weapons, which is the same thing. This was a railway tunnel, so the V2s wouldn't have been actually taken through there. There was much bigger tunnels. They need to be, I think, at least 10 or 15 metres high for the operation of these V2 rockets to be launched against England. I would say that's probably a machine gun point, which most of the, nearly all the Nazi fortifications had them. Fragments of a tall boy bomb. Wow, thickness, it's got to be well over an inch or 30 centimetres roughly. This is one of the generators to generate electricity to keep La Coupole running. The next area you're going to see is dedicated to the RAF fighter command and bombers, especially the bombers who came over to attack the area of Calais. There's a lot of stuff going because that's the closest area to England that the Nazis actually set up. This is a reconstruction of the underground work site, found in 1944. A metal sheeting to hold the roof up. Because it's limestone, it's leaking, so it's dripping water in. Some of this you wouldn't be able to see if you didn't have a torchlight, man. I'm just showing you past where the other visitors can't see. Another tunnel down there that obviously hasn't been finished off, but has been started. If you listen carefully, you hear the water. You can see the rough cut of chalk they've been cutting through here, because it's obviously not been finished. If it had been, they'd have been lined to make it more safer for the workers here. They've put some lifts in, so if you want to go on the lift, which I think we got a lift anyway. Oh yeah, the stairs have been sealed off. At least people in wheelchairs can get access to have a look round here as well. Well, there's one of the V2 rockets. Well, either our replica, and I think we're directly underneath the dome, which was constructed, as I said before, regarding putting soil and then putting steel bars and concrete on top and digging out underneath. Above us is about 5 metres of concrete, so it's pretty well safe actually, even from tall boy bombs. Now then, I'm not sure, but that looks like the Ada tunnel. And then I think it was Gretchen, and I can't remember the other tunnels. But the side of Coupole I think this is the front bit. Well, we're facing Coupole, and then the side bits which have been destroyed, which are them two pieces there. That's where the rockets would have come out to be shot into space and then land on England. That was the idea, but it never happened anyway. This V1 needs to travel 180 mile an hour before it works, which has to be catapulted off which you've seen outside regarding that ramp. This was invented by a gentleman called Paul Schmidt, so it was completely separate from the V2, which was invented by Wernher Von Braun. Out of all the fascination of all this Nazi concrete and that, we mustn't forget the sacrifices that people had made regarding building this stuff. They were forced into it, forced labour from concentration camps. They had no choice but to come here and basically work to death actually. So we just mustn't forget the sacrifices that these people have made in regarding building this. And I suppose if you look at it another way, it may be a bit of a memorial for them as well. Thanks for watching my little video on Coupole, and a little bit of a tour around the museum and a bit of history about it. If you'd like to come at any time and have a look, I'll put some links below so you can see what it's all about. And thanks for watching, and hopefully to see you on the next video.